Hey guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 2-3 of October-November 2015 of the IGCSE paper 2. Okay, so let's move on to question number 1. So we have to find the equation of a tangent to the curve at this point. So basically, if you think about this, we have a curve which looks like, let's say something like this, right? And then we have a point here, and we have to find the equation of the tangent that is at this point x is 2. So the first thing you want to know is, what is the y coordinate of this point? So pretty easy. Replace this value back in your equation, so y, and that'll be 2 power 3 plus 3 times 2 power 2 minus 5 times 2 minus 7. So in those cases, I will always advise using a calculator so you can get the right answer. 8 plus 3 times 4 minus 10 minus 7, that should be 3. So we know the point that it needs to go through is a point of 2 and 3. Okay, that is the passing point of the tangent. Now next thing is, if you want to find the equation of a line, we have to first find the gradient of that line. So gradient of tangent, you guys must know by now, it is equal to dy by dx. So you have to find dy by dx at this point. So first thing, let's find dy by dx. That is equal to what? So 1 by 1, you will have first one will be 3x squared plus 6x minus 5. And we have to replace the value of x here, which is 2. So replace 2 at x equal to 2. What do you have? Gradient of tangent will be what? 3 times 4 plus 6 times 2 minus 5. So 12 plus 12 minus 5, that will be 19. Okay, so basically that is your gradient of tangent, and you have the passing point, so you can find the equation pretty easily. So we use this technique. Basically we have the passing point, which is 2, 3. This is your x coordinate and that is your y coordinate. So we take y minus 3 over x minus 2, and that is supposed to equal to your gradient. Now we just have to cross multiply to find the values. Y minus 3 equal to 19, x minus 38. So y will be 19x minus 35. Okay, that will be your equation of your tangent passing at this point of the curve. That is your question number 1. Now let's move on to question number 2. We have to find the values of k for which the line cuts the curve at 2 distinct points. So when you see this, you should know that you have to use b squared minus 4ac is more than 0. But first we have to solve these two equations simultaneously. So here we have y, here we have y. Replacing each other, you will have 2x plus k plus 2 is equal to 2x squared plus k plus 2x plus 8. Now we have to simplify. Let's send everything to one side. You will have here I have 2x squared plus k plus 2x minus 2x plus 8 minus 2 minus k is equal to 0. Now let's simplify. You will have 2x squared plus kx plus 2x minus 2x plus 6 minus k equal to 0. So finally we have the most simplified version. So these two will cancel out, plus kx and plus 6 minus k has to be 0. So now we have a quadratic equation. This is your a, this is your b, and this is your c. So we have b squared minus 4ac has to be more than 0. And why is that? Because it meets the curve at 2 distinct points. Now replace back in the formula. B squared is k squared minus 4 times a times c, which is 6 minus k has to be more than 0. You will have k squared minus 8, 6 minus k more than 0, k squared minus, what is 8 times 6? We have to check. It is 48 probably. Yep, it is 48. And we have plus, that will be plus 8k more than 0. Now when we are here, we have to find the critical values of this equation. So let's do that. So how can we find this? Let's rearrange this first because it can be confusing. We'll have k squared plus 8k minus 48. We have to equate that to 0 to find the critical values of k. Now we have to factorize to see how can we have 8 here. So let's do that. K squared is k times k. 48 is 12 times 4. To get plus 8, we have to have plus 12 minus 4. So k is equal to 4 and k is equal to minus 12, all the critical values, okay? So now we have a line, and we have minus 12 here, and we have 4 here. This is your line, 0, and your curve will look something, because it is positive, it will look something like this. That's your curve, okay? Now we have to look at what we want. We want this to be more than 0, above the 0. We want this and this side, right? So that is only possible if x is less than minus 12 and if it is x more than 4. So your values that satisfy this equation will be this and this. So this is not x, this is k. So let me write this properly. This is k, right? K, my bad. So let me write down. So it is only true when k is less than minus 12 and k is more than 4. This is your values of k for which that is true. That is question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So part A, given that y is equal to this, find dy by dx. So the first thing you see is what? Is that they are a fraction, so you have to use the quotient rule. So dy by dx is equal to, you have to first write down the denominator as it is, then multiply by the differentiation of this one, that will give you 3x squared. Then we have to minus, now we have to write down the numerator as it is, then multiply by the differentiation of the base, that will give you minus 2x. And now everything you have to divide by the base square. That will be this value. Now if you observe, the first one will remain the same, so no big change. You will have 3x squared times 2 minus x squared. So minus will become plus, so that will become plus 2x power 4. And everything divide by 2 minus this square. Now if you want to expand and simplify, you can do that. If you want to leave your answer like this as well, it is okay. But of course we want to get the simplest term possible. So you can expand this. You will have 6x squared minus 3x power 4 plus 2x power 4. That is over 2 minus x squared, and that will give you, so this will minus 3 plus 3 is minus 1, so you will have 6 x squared minus x power 4 divided by 2 minus x squared. Okay, you will have this as your fraction for dy by dx. Now let's move on to part B of the question. So given that y is equal to this equation, show that dy by dx is equal to this and state the value of k. So again, the same steps. If you observe, this one is a product. X times something is a product, so we have to use your product rule. So now the first thing to realize is we can rewrite this down as, so we can rewrite this number, this function as 4x plus 6 power half, right? So let's do this. So y is x times 4x plus 6 power half. Now we have to find dy by dx. So dy by dx, this one is a product, so we use the product rule. So we can write the second as it is, function as it is, and then multiply by d by dx of the first one is 1. And then we write plus, we write the first one as it is, and then multiply by the d by dx of the second one. You will have half. and now be 4x plus 6 power minus half. Of course, you have to multiply by the inside differentiation. That will give you 4. So now we have to simplify. This is 2. That will be 2. So you will have, this is root of 4x plus 6 plus, this is 2x divided by root of 4x plus 6. So now we can simplify, because as you can see, this is just over 1. It is 2 fractions. We can make it become the same base. You will have this as 4x plus 6, and this will become 4x plus 6 plus 2x. Now I'll simplify again. That will give you 4x plus 2x will be 6x, and plus 6 divided by root of 4x plus 6. Now, as you can see here, it is shown in this way, so we can always factorize 6 out. You will have x plus 1, and then below you have this 4x plus 6. Now, by comparing, you will see the value of k will be 6. K is 6. And that is your question number 3. Let's move on to question number 4. So solve the equation. So we have a simultaneous equation giving you answers for both x and y in the form of this, where a and b are integers. Now, what are integers? Integers are whole numbers, which is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, going on, and also going till infinity. So whole numbers, right? So step by step, we have to first make y become the subject of formula. You will have 9 minus 2x. That is the first value of y, first equation. Now replace y in this y. You will have root 3x plus 2 times y is 9 minus 2x equal to 5. Okay, expand. You will have root 3x plus 18 minus 4x equal to 5. So these two have x's. We have to combine them together. You will have root 3 minus 4 and then x outside. This will give you 5 minus 18. Now we can have, we can make this become, let's send this over here. Okay, let's solve this first. 5 minus 18 will be minus 13. Now let's send this over here and send this over here. You will have 13 here, and here you will have 4 minus root 3 x. So based on that, x has to give you 13 divided by 4 minus root 3. Now, of course, this is the answer, but we want to express in this form. So we have to simplify this. So we have to multiply the base and the top by the conjugate of the base, which will be this one. So simplify, the base will give you, so 4, so this looks a lot like what? If you observe, this looks like a minus b and a plus b, and that should give you a square minus b square. So that will give you 4 square minus root 3 square for the base. The top will be 13 times this will give you what is 13 times 4? Let's check. 52, yeah, 52, and plus 13 root 3. Now let's simplify. That will give you, the top is the same, doesn't change, right? The base will be 4 square is 16 minus 3, that will be 13. So your answer will be, if you simplify, it will give you 4 plus root 3. This is your value for x. That is the first answer. Now we have to use this to find the value of y. So replace in the first equation, y is 9 minus 2 times x, which is 4 plus root 3. That is 9 minus 8 minus 2 root 3. That will be 1 minus 2 root 3. Okay, so here you go. X will be 4 plus root 3, and y will be 1 minus 2 root 3. So your answer will be in this form. That will be your question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. So the roots of the equation are 1, 3, 3. Show that the value of c is this, and find the value of a and b. So pretty easy. So whenever you know the roots of these, we can use the theorem. We can first let f of x equal to your function, which is x power 3 plus ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Now we can form a few equations. We can basically, we know that these are roots, so basically f of 1, we know it has to be 0. The remainder theorem gives you 0 because they are roots. You have no remainders when you put these values in the equation. So you will have what? You will have 1 plus a plus b plus c equal to 0. So a plus b plus c equal to minus 1. That is your first equation. The next one we can have is for the other roots. So we know that f of 3 is also 0. So that will give you 3 squared is 27 plus 9a plus 3b plus c has to be 0. Now if you simplify, you will have 9a plus 3b plus c will give you minus 27. That is your equation number 2. But now, as you can see here, it tells you to show that the c is equal to minus 9. How can you do that? So based on this information here, if these are roots, what are the factors? You will say factors will look like x minus 1 times x minus 3 times x minus 3. Agree? So to find the value of c, c is the last number here. We just have to multiply this by this by this. So c is equal to minus 1 times minus 3 times minus 3. That will give you minus 9. This is shown as required. So c will be minus 9. So in this case, you will have a new equation. So from this, you will have a plus b. C is minus 9. You send this over here, will become plus 8. That is equation number 1. Now same thing here. You have 9a plus 3b. C is minus 9. Send this over here, will become plus 9. So you will have minus 18. Number 2. Now we can divide by 3. You will have 3a plus b is equal to minus 6. Okay, so we just have to solve simultaneously now. Here we can make b become the subject. So b is equal to 8 minus a. Okay, but placed back in this equation, you will have 3a, b will be 8 minus a is equal to minus 6. Now let's find the value of a. So 3a plus 8 minus a is equal to minus 6. So 3 minus a will be 2a. That will be minus 14. A will be minus 7. So b will be 8 minus minus 7. That will be 15. So you realize that the value of a is minus 7, b is 15, and c is minus 9. So the one thing here is, if you guys may need understanding of how did we find the factors, let's write this here. So for example, we know that the roots were given to us by 1, 3, 3. But the question here is, how do you find the roots? Usually you would have an equation and then you would say, okay, x is equal to those values. So x is equal to 1, x is equal to 3, x is equal to 3, right, for the roots. Now to find the factors is pretty easy. We just have to send this value over here. You will have x, send this over here, become minus 1 is 0, x minus 3 is 0, x minus 3 is 0. So basically these will be the factors of that equation. So by multiplying this by this and by this, you will get your equation of the function. So that's how you find your factors, and by multiplying your factors you get your equation of your curve. So that's what we use here to find the value of c in part 1. That is question number 5. Now question number 6, we have to solve this equation. So here we have a logarithm. So for you to know how to solve this, we have to know all the laws of logarithms. So here we have different bases. You can see here we have log base of 2, and here we have log base of x. So one thing we need to do is we need to change everything to the same base. So let's make this become log base of 2. So we have log base of x is equal to 2. Let's change that to log base of 2 to 2, and then log base of 2 to x. So this is 1. You have 1 over log 2x. So basically you will have something like this. So right now you have log base of 2, 29x minus 15 is equal to 3 plus 2 over 1 over log base of 2x. Now whenever you have something like this, you can always send this one up, okay? So you will have log base of 2, 29x minus 15 is equal to 3 plus 2 log base of 2x. Now let's send everything to one side, all the logarithms to one side. You will have log base of 2, 29x minus 15 minus, so we can send this here, right? You will have log base of 2x squared is equal to 3. Now we can simplify. You will have combine those two. You will have log base of 2. Combine the insides together. You will have, here we have minus, so it will become minus 15 divided by x squared is equal to 3. Now let's simplify. So we want to eliminate the log here. We can send this over here. You will have 29x minus 15 over x squared is equal to, so when you have, let's say, log of base of a and b, you want to find the x here. X will be a power b, so same thing, 2 power 3, which is 8. Now we just have to cross multiply. You will have 29x minus 15 is equal to 8x squared. Now let's bring everything to one side. You will have 8x squared minus 29x plus 15 is equal to 0. Now you have a quadratic equation where you have to factorize and solve. So now if you don't know how to factorize, no problem. You can always use your formula to find the answer. But now let's give a try. How can we factorize this so we can have this value here? So we know 8 is 4 times 2, right? And what is 15? We know 15 is 15 times 1 or 3 times 5. We can try, if you want to try 3 times 5, let's see where we can put 3 times 5. 15 is 3 times 5. So let's try, if you put 5 here and 3 here, that will not be good because you will have 20 and then that will be 6, so it will not be enough. Now if you put, let's see, what can we put? If you put 5 here and 3 here, that will not be enough either. So what can we do? We have to use our formula to see what happens. So x will be 29 plus minus root of b squared, 29 squared, minus 4 times a times c. That will be root of 361 divided by 2a will be 16. So it seems that we could not have simplified this to brackets. We had to use your formula to find the values of x. So x is equal to what? X has to be positive because it is logarithms in this case. So it will be 29 plus root of 361 divided by 16. That will be 3. Okay, it was exact value. X will be 3, so exact value. It means that we could have actually factorized our equation. Maybe I should have used 8. Let me check. So if I use 8x here, and then if I use x here, let's see what do I have. That could have been 3 here and 5. Okay, so it seems to be exact because by factorizing like this, if I do minus minus, that will be minus 24 minus 5 will give you minus 29. So x could have been 5 over 8, or x could have been 3. But as you can see, if you guys don't know how to factorize or can't find the factorization, you always can go back to this one. To your formulas, you will find your answer as 3. And it seems that this is also the right answer because it is also a positive value. So let's find the other value. 29 minus root of 361 divided by 16. So it is also a positive value. So x can also be 5 over 8. So we have two values of x, this and this. Okay. So the reason why we can only keep positive values is because we are using a logarithm, and we have to have a positive value. So let me check here. What if I plug in the value of x is equal to 5 over 8 to see what happens? 29 times answer times 15, that will be still positive. So it is a good answer because it has to be positive inside the logarithms. Okay, so that will be your question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. So the velocity v of a particle traveling in a straight line t seconds after passing a fixed point O is given to you by this. So the main thing is your v is equal to this. Now, if you want to rewrite this down, you can write this down as 10 times 2 plus t power minus 2. Okay. Now, next step is to find the acceleration of the particle when time equal to 3. So, as you guys must know by now, acceleration is dv by dt. That will be, looking at this, 10 is only a multiple. We have to first multiply by the power. Then we have to minus 1 to the power. That will become minus 3, and times the differentiation on the inside. That will be 1. So your answer will be minus 20 over 2 plus t power 3. So we have to find the value of a when t is equal to 3. A will be minus 20 divided by, so 2 plus 3 is 5 power 3, 125. So minus 20 divided by 125, that should give you minus 0.16 meters per second square. Okay, that is your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, explain why the particle can never come to rest. So why v cannot equal to 0? So for that, you have to look at your equation. If you can see, v is equal to 10 divided by 2 plus t square. So this is because this value here, so the whole thing here will never become 0. That's why. Because you can write down this value here will always be positive, and you can write out 2 plus t square is always more than 0 for any value of t. For any value of t, and thus, because of that, 10 divided by this will would never become 0. It will only increase. It will only increase to infinity, but here it will only approach the value of 0. So v approaches the value of 0, but never becomes 0. You have to understand that. Never becomes 0. Okay, because the horizontal axis is the asymptote for this kind of curve. It will always be something like this. The graph will look something like this. It will always approach the value of 0, but it will never be 0. Okay, because it's just not possible according to the equation. Now for part 3, find an expression for the displacement of the particle for this one. So let's call the displacement s. As you guys know, it should be equal to integration of velocity. That will be this, and we have 10. That will be, of course, we have to write this down as 2 plus t power minus 2 with respect to dt. That will be 10, and we have, this is only a multiple, so no big deal. We first have to increase the power by 1, the minus 1, then divide by the power, then divide by the differentiation of the inside. That will be 1, and plus c, of course. So your answer will be s is equal to minus 10 over 2 plus t plus c. So now you have to find this value of c. So we have to use common sense, which says that when the value of t is 0, we know s has to also be 0. So you replace in the equation, so you'll have 0 on one side, minus 10 over 2 plus c. From this you'll have c is equal to 5, so finally s is minus 10 over 2 plus t plus 5. This is your equation for s, your displacement. Now you can label this as s or x, it is up to you. It's not a big difference, okay? The most important thing is this equation. You show that you have this. Now for part 4, we have to find the distance traveled by the particle between those two times. So pretty easy. You have to find the s at time 3. So you will have minus 10 over 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 5. That will be minus 2 plus 5 is the value of 3. Now we have to find s at time 8. Minus 10 over 2 plus t. So 2 plus 8 will be 10. Plus 5 will be minus 1 plus 5. And that will be 4. So distance traveled will be the difference between those two. 4 minus 3 will be 1. So you have to write meters, of course, for the distance traveled. That will be your question number 7. Now let's move on to question number 8. So we have to prove the left-hand side becomes the right-hand side. So how can we prove this? We can do step by step and see what happens. So first thing is, what is sec square x? If you guys know, it is basically, we have a list of formula if you want to look at this as well. This is equal to 1 plus tan square a. So 1 plus tan square x. Now what is cosec square x? It is basically 1 over sine square x. Okay, let's see what can we do with those and simplify to see if we can get that value. So let's do step by step. So here we have this plus this. Let's see what can we get from that. So you have sec square x plus cosec square x, which is 1 plus tan square x plus 1 over sine square x. So as you can see here as well, we have different base of 1 and sine square x. So let's make it become the same base, right? You will have something like this. Base will be sine square x, then we have to cross multiply. You will have sine square x, then plus sine square x tan square x, and just plus 1. Now how can we simplify this to this side? Let's see what can be done. In fact, in this kind of questions, this is my first time doing this, so I don't know what I'm going to get, but I have to try one by one to see what happens. So here I have sine square x plus sine square x tan square x plus 1. So let me think, what can we do else? Something else or not? So okay, so one thing I could have done here is, if you observe, what is also sec square x? So you have to know that sec, let me use a different color here, because I forgot something, is that sec square x is also equal to 1 over cos square x. What if I did this instead of this? Let's see what happens. So you would have 1 over sin square x plus 1 over cos square x, right? In that case, it seems it will be working. It's much easier. It will give you something like, because we have to make it become the same base, we have to multiply by them by each other. You will have sine square x and cos square x. Then we have to cross multiply. You will have cos square x plus sine square x. Okay, so this one it works. This one may be too long, but this one works. So let's write this down here. So on one side you will have 1 over cos square x plus 1 over sine square x, and that will give you 1. So that will give you Sin square x plus cos square x over, so that was cos square x and sin square x. Now you guys have to know sin square x plus cos square x is 1 over cos square x and sin square x. And what is that? If you want to break it down, you will have 1 over cos square x times 1 over sin square x. Now again, going back to the basics, what is 1 over cos square x is equal to sec square x. So sec square x times, what is this? It is cosec square x. Okay, so you can see the left hand side becomes the right hand side, and this is shown as required. Okay, this is for part 1. Now for part 2, we have hence or otherwise solve this equation. So hence mean to use your answer from part 1 to solve this equation. So we know this is equal to sec square x cosec square x is equal to 4 tan square x. So let's see how can we solve this equation. So let's see, because we have to use those simple values. What if I break it down? You will have 1 over cos square x and sin square x, right? Equal to 4 times, on top you will have sin square x over cos square x. Now these two will be cancelled out. Okay, and if you cross multiply, you will have 1 is equal to 4 sine power 4x. Okay, now if you have to make this one become subject of formula, you will have sine power 4x is equal to 1 over 4. Now basically you will have two values for x, so one will be a negative value, that will be minus 4 power 1 over 4, or plus, right? So we have two values. So the y is that you have to understand. So first step, if you want to know, is, let me write this down here. To solve this, usually you will have to do, because what is sine power 4? It is power 2x square. That will be 1 over 4. So you will have something like this at first. Be plus minus root of 1 over 4, right? Now one more time, you have square here again. You will have sine x plus minus root of 1 over 4. That's why you have to write minus or plus for two possible values. So one by one, this one, what it will give you, because sine is negative, you have to know it is in your third quadrant and your fourth quadrant, right? So here the values of x we're looking for is only between 90 and 270. So we're only looking for values between these two quadrants. So we only want something here and here, so we don't need this one. So just one value will be enough. So let's find that. First, x will be sine inverse. Let's use the positive value, so 1 over 4 power 1 over 4. That will be 0.707. So sine inverse of that should give you something. So we have to use degrees. Sine, so let's do that. So 1 over 4 power 1 over 4. Sine inverse should give you something exact. As you can see, it is 45 degrees. But now we have to find the values of x according to your quadrant, which is this one, which is 180 plus this one. So 180 plus 45 will give you 225. And then will be this one, which is 360 minus 45. That will be 315. Now same thing here. We have to look at your quadrants. It is positive, it will be in your first quadrant and your second quadrant. Okay, so x, as we have seen for the other part, it will be 45 degrees. So x according to the quadrant will be 45 degrees but also will be this one, which is 180 minus 45. That will be 135. Now finally we have to choose our values according to the domain. Domain given was between 90 to 270. This will be too much and this will be too less. So x has to be 135 and 225. This will be your answers for question part 8. Let's move on to question number 9. Given that f of x is equal to this equation, now we have to find the values of a, b, and c by doing that. So this one is complete square form, so let me do this step by step for you guys. So the first step I like to do is I like to rewrite the equation down. So we have this plus 12, and I like to leave some space, plus 2. Now these two, you can see they can be factorized. You can take out 3, because the first important thing is you have to make this become 1, so you have to factorize this outside. You have 3 outside, you will have x squared plus 4x. Leave some space here, and plus 2. Now, since you have 1 here now, we can add the number that we want to add. It will be this number, 4 divided by 2 squared. So now, when you add a number, you also have to minus the number, so your equation does not change. So minus 4 over 2 square. But since it was inside the bracket, you have to take out the 3 with it as well. Okay. So so right now you have 3 here. X will be x, plus will be plus, and this inside value will be 4 divided by 2 will be 2, will be square. Plus 2 minus 3 times 2 square. So 3x plus 2 square. So what is 3 times 2 square, which is 4? 2 minus 4, 12, it will be minus 10. So as you can see, this is exactly in this form, where a is 3, b is 2, and c will be minus 10. That will be part 1. Now for part 2, we have to state the minimum values of f of x and the values of x at which is occur. So whenever you see state, it means that it is very easy and you know this value already based on your previous calculation. So according to this, the minimum value has to be the 1 in the end, which is minus 10. That's the minimum value. And what is the value at which it occurs? You have to look at this inside. The value will be x plus 2. You have to equate that to 0. X will be minus 2. So write at x equal to minus 2. That will be part 2. Now for part 3, we have to solve this equation, giving each answer for y correct to 2 decimal place. So f of 1 over y is equal to what? Replace back in your equation, because then now you know f of x is equal to 3 x plus 2 square minus 10. That will be 3 1 over y plus 2 square minus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, let's solve. So we have to make y become the subject of formula. So step by step, 1 over y plus 2 square is 10 over 3. Now 1 over y plus 2 is equal to plus minus root of 10 over 3. Now 1 over y is equal to minus 2 plus minus 10 over 3. Now let's find those values. 1 over y is equal to, so minus 2 plus 10 divided by 3. That will be minus 0.174258, or it can be 1 over y can be minus 2 minus root of 10 divided by 3, minus 3.825742. So finally we have to find the value of y. We have to flip this upside down. So basically you have to write 1 divided by minus 0.174258. That will be minus 5.74 to decimal place. And this one will be 1 divided by minus 3, 3.825742 minus 0.26. So these two will be the values of y correct to 2 decimal place for this equation. Okay, so that is your question number 9. Now we have to move on to question number 10. Given that dy by dx is equal to this, find the value of k. So we have to do dy by dx. So step by step you will have dy by dx is equal to, first you have to write down the same thing, and then we have to multiply by the differentiation of this one. It will give you minus 2x. So it will be minus 2x exponential 2 minus x squared. So k will be minus 2. That is part 1. Now part 2, we have to use your results from part 1, hence find this. So if you observe, part 1 we have integration. So from this we can derive that integration of this one, which is minus 2 x exponential of 2 minus x squared by dx is supposed to give you this one, which is exponential of 2 minus x squared. Right, that's why we derive from part 1. But we can also write this now as integration of x, this, we know that have to give you this value, minus half. Because you have to send this minus 2 over here and become half 2 minus x squared. Okay, so using that result from part 1, find this one. Okay, so 3, we can take out 3. 3 will be outside. We have to find integration of x exponential 2 power this by dx. But this you know already from this, it is equal to 3 times minus half exponential 2 minus x squared. This is minus 3 over 2 exponential 2 minus x squared. That is your answer for part 2, based on number 1, right? Now part 3, hence find the area enclosed by the curve, this curve, the x-axis, and the line this and this. So basically, hence means we have to use the value from part 2 to find the area. So if you want to understand, you can always draw something. For example, this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. Let's say this curve looks something like, let's say it looks something like this, right? X equal to 1 will be here. This is x equal to 1, and x equal to root of 2 will be here. So we just have to find this area under the curve enclosed by this part. Pretty easy. Integration of 3 x exponential 2 minus 2x squared, dx between those limits, which is of root 2 and 1. So using your answer from this one, you know that integration of this will give you something like this. So let's write this down. Minus 3 over 2 exponential of 2 minus x squared between the limits of root 2 and 1. Simplify. Minus 3 over 2 exponential of 2 minus 2, then minus 3 over 2 exponential of 2 minus 1. That will give you, so 2 exponential power 0 will be 1, so the minus 3 over 2 plus 3 over 2 exponential 1. So your answer will be what? Will be 3 over 2 will be exponential minus 1. So now you can leave your answer like this, or if you want to, you can solve this to provide your answer as a decimal place as well. Now let's move on to part 4 of the question. So we have to find the coordinates of the stationary points of the curve y equal to this. So basically we know what? We know that at stationary points, we know dy by dx has to be 0. So we have to first find dy by dx. So dy by dx is equal to, we can first write down, here you can see that it is a product of this and this, so we have to use our product rule. So first we can write down the first product as the first function as it is, and times d by dx of the second one. So this we know already from the first part of this question. It will be equal to minus 2x exponential 2 minus x squared, then plus the second function as it is, and then times d by dx of the first function, that is 3. Now we have to simplify. You will have what? Let's see. Minus 6x squared exponential 2 minus x squared plus 3 2 minus x squared. Now factorize, you will have 3 exponential 2 minus x squared outside. That will become minus 2x squared plus 1, and we have to equate dy by dx to 0 to find your stationary point. Now we have this one, but we know exponential cannot be 0, so this answer here will be rejected, so we have to use only this one. So we have this plus 1 is equal to 0, so 2x squared is equal to 1, x squared is equal to half. So from this you can see x has to be plus minus 1 over root of 2. That is your value of x. Now we have to find the corresponding value of y as well. So in this case, y will be plus minus, you will have 3 over root 2. Basically, we just have to replace this value in this equation, in the first equation, where y is equal to 3x exponential 2 minus x squared. So you will have this exponential 2 minus, that will be 3 over 4. So 2 minus, so 2 minus, sorry, 3 over 2. So it has to be square, right? It has to be 9 over 2. So let's see, because when we put this value here, sorry, this value, not this value, sorry. When we put this value here, you will have 1 over 2. So half minus 1 over 2, that should give you 3 over 2. That's why you will have 3 over 2 here. So this is your point of x. So let's write this down correctly. When x is equal to plus 1 over root 2, y will be equal to plus 3 over root 2 exponential 3 over 2. That is the first point. And then the other point will be when x is equal to minus 1 over this, y will also be equal to minus this 3 over 2. So these will be the 2 points that we have for our stationary point. And that will be everything. This is the question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 11. So the trees in a certain forest are dying because of an unknown virus. Okay, unknown virus. Now the number of trees ants surviving T years after the onset of the virus is shown in the table below. Okay, that's what we have, the values of T and the number of trees as the years goes on. Now part 1, we have the relationship between N and T thought to be in the form of this. Part 1 into a straight line. So we have to make this become a straight line, which means we have to show it can be in the form of y equal to mx plus c. So step by step, first we can apply ln or log on both sides. Let's do that. Let's apply ln. Let's apply log on both sides. There's no difference. You can apply either one that you want to apply. It is up to you. So that will be this, and we have to expand this side. That will give you log of a plus log of b minus 1. Now you will have ln of this is equal to, this is minus t, okay, minus 1 minus t. That will be minus t log of b plus log of a. Now we can write this down. Ln of this will be log of b and times, so we can put the minus here if you want to, and this will be t, and we have log of a. So if you observe, this is your value for gradient, and this is your y-intercept, and this is your gradient, just like a straight line. Okay, that will be in the form of a straight line. That is your first part to do. Now for part 2, we have to use the data, draw this straight line on the grid below. So pretty easy. We have to find the value of log of n, sorry. So log of 2000 will be, so we have to use, let's use 2 decimal place, 3.3 3.30 because 3SF, right? Now log of 1300, 3.11, log of 890, that'll be 2.95, log of 590, 2.77, log of 395, 2.60, log of 260, that will be 2.41. As you can see, you have your y-axis will be your log n, and your x-axis will be your value of t. So let's plot one by one to see what can we have for those. Let's see if we can have a straight line for those values. Oh, it's not very straight, so make sure your line is straight. Okay, you will be using a pencil. If this happens, you can erase and make it straight. Okay, this is t, 4 years, right? And we have 0. We have 6 years. Let's count. We have 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 2 3 4 5, 2 3 4 5, 4 5, and 1 2 3 4 5 and 5. So 1 2 3 4. So it have to be 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 years. 6 years for your x-axis, and for your y-axis it will be log of n, and we have values between 2.41 and 3.0. So we have to see what can be done, but first let's label this as log of n, and then let's mark our scale. So we have 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. Here you go. So we have values between 2.4 and 3.30. So let's see. That'll be 1 2 3 4. We can try. Yeah, that should be enough. 1 2 3 4 and 5. So let's plot the points to see if we have a straight line or not. So the first value is 1 and 3.30. So 1 is here, and 3.30 will be 3.123, and we have 2 will be 3.11, 3.11 will be 3.1 will be right here. Then we have 3 will be 8 point, sorry, mistake here. This is 2, should be right here. And let's erase this one because this one is a mistake. Now 0.3 will be 2.95, 3 will be 2.95, and we have 4 will be 2.77. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 7, and we have 5 will be 2.60. That should be 2's here. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then 0.6 will be 2.60. Sorry, 2.41. 2.41 will be 2's here. 1 2 3 4, about here. Now as you can see, by joining those 6 points, it should be giving you a straight line. So that will be your line of best fit, and that will give you a straight line. And if you have a straight line, it means that your values are okay, and that is a good answer. Okay, the main point here is to have a straight line going in that direction. Now let's move on to part 3 of the question. So use a graph to estimate the values of a and b. So to know that, let's first write down the equation that we have. Log of n is equal to minus log of b t plus log of a. So as you can see here, we have this value here is your gradient, and this is your y-intercept. So here we have y-intercept as 3.5. So let's write down we know that log of a is equal to 3.5, so a has to be 10 power 3.5. That will be 3162.2277. Usually we write this down correct to 3SF. That will be 3160. Now let's find the value of b. We have to use the gradient to find that. So to find the gradient, we have to use 2 points. Let's use new points. So let's say here we have 7 and 8. So let's use this point here, which is 8 and 2, and then use this point, which is 0, 3.5. So we have 2 points, 8 and 2, 0 and 3.5. Right. Now to find the gradient, which is minus log b, it is also m, which is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That will be 1.5 divided by minus 8. Okay, so right now what do we have? Let's check. That will be log of b should be 0.1875. So b will be 10 power 0.1875. 1.54 because we have to write correct to 3SF. So this is your value of b and your value of a, 3SF. Now for part 4 we have, if the trees continue to die in the same way, so basically we have to use the same equation. So we can estimate the number of trees surviving after 10 years. 10 years is time equal to 10. So we have to use the same equation because it says same way here. So right now we know our equation we have is ln of n is equal to what is minus log of b? Minus log of b was this value, which is minus 0.1875. T is 10 and log of a is this value, 3.5. Now we can find the value, so let's check. Minus 0.1875 times 10 plus 3.5 should be, so we have log of n is 1.625. N will be 10 power 1.625. That will be 42.169. So we have to write the trees to full value because we want to find the number of trees. So it will be 42. Right. That will be part 4. Now for part 5, find the number of years taken until there's only 10 trees surviving. So until n is equal to 10. So same thing. Replace back in the same equation. You will have ln of 10. That will be minus 0.1875. Time we don't know. Plus 3.5. So ln of 10 is 1. Here we can send this over here. You have minus 3.5 is equal to minus 0.1875 times t. So 1 times 1 minus this will be minus 2.5 minus 0.1875 t. So t will be what? Let's see. This divided by minus 0.1875. That will be 13 and 1/3 years. Okay, it will take that long for that only 10 trees will be remaining. Now let's move on to question number 12. A plane that can travel at 250 km in still air sets off on a bearing of 70 degrees. That's the first information that we have, these two. Now a wind with a speed of W km per hour blows from the south, blows the plane off course, so the plane actually travels on a bearing of 60 degrees, right? Now question is, find in km per hour the resultant speed v of the plane. So we have to find two things, and the wind speed w. So let's see how can we find this. So it is always best to draw something so we can understand what's happening. So first thing we have to draw our north line. This is the north line, and here we have our basically the right and left side to help us, to guide us about the directions. Now the first thing we know is that if you have a compass, you can always use that. It can help you to find approximate exact values, but it is no need for this one. Is that the plane can travel at 250 km on the bearing of 70. Let's say 70 was about, so bearing 70 will be, let's say, about this point. For example, in this direction, that will be bearing of 70. For example, so that will be that direction, 70. Okay. Now, because there's a wind blowing south, so in this direction, north, right? The course it will go is actually on a bearing of 60. Let's say it will be about this direction, right? Because of the wind. Now if you observe, this will be 60. Now you can decide what will be this angle now. That will be 70 minus 60, that will be 10. And you know that the wind is blowing in this direction, so you can just connect these two. For example, blowing in this direction, that's the wind speed W. So we know that this speed here is what is given to you by 250. It is speed of still air. So question is, we have to find the wind speed and the resultant speed. So how can you find this? So let's see how can we play with the values and the things that we can have, and we can use that to help us to find those values. So these two will be in the same direction. If you observe, right, the wind speed and the north line are both in the same direction. Let's see what can we derive from those two, because these two are parallel with each other. So we can see that if this is 60, this also has to be 60, right? Now because of that, if you know 60, 10, this has to be 180 minus 60 minus 10. That will be 110. So now you can find those speeds pretty easily. This will be found by using the sine rule again. So resultant speed will be R over sine of 110 is equal to, we know this one, which is 250 over sine of 60. Okay, so let's find the value of R. From this we can find R is 250 times sine 110 divided by sine 60. So 250 sine of 110 divided by sine 60, that will be 271.266, which is 271 km per hour. Now let's go again to find the value of W. Same steps. W over sine of 10 is equal to 250 over sine of 60. That will be, W will be 250 sine of 10 over sine of 60. That will be 50.1 km per hour for the wind speed. So these two will be your solution for the answer number 12. As always, it's always best to draw something if you want to understand what's happening. It will help you to find your answers. Now, this is the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.